bring you a drink, okay? Because you're offering to do it as a way of helping the other person. As opposed to the other mashoka structure, which would translate as more like, shall we bring drinks? Okay, so it's situational. With a phrase like this one, if you're like headed to the kitchen to get yourself a drink, and your friend is sitting on the couch, nomimono o motte ikimashou ka is clearly offering it to your friend, right? If, on the other hand, you and your friend are planning a party together, and you're wondering if you should bring drinks to the party as your contribution to the potluck or whatever, then nomimono o motte ikimashou ka could be more like, should I bring it to the party? And if the two of you are planning what you're going to buy together to bring to the party, then, it could be any of those scenarios, depending on context, basically. Does that make sense? Okay. Denki o tsukemashou ka. Okay, so again, usually that's not a group activity, right? Turning on the lights doesn't usually require more than one person. But if your friend is sitting or laying in bed and you're offering, you want me to turn the light on for you? That makes sense, right? And then haban o mochimashou ka. So there again, usually carrying a bag is not a two-person activity, but if you see your friend struggling with their bags, then you could offer to carry something as a way of helping out. So that's what this version of mashou ka is doing. Mochimashou ka, motte kimashou ka, tsukemashou ka, tetsudaimashou ka, any of them are offering to do something as a way of helping the other person, versus the other usage of mashou ka, which is, shall we do this together? So in the case where it might be ambiguous which one you meant, you could use ishoni if you want to clarify that you mean let's do it together. And if you're trying to make the offer and you think the other person might not understand, we haven't really learned the vocabulary for it, but there is a way to specify, shall I do this for you? Okay, but we haven't learned that vocab yet, so I won't worry about it for now. Okay, ii desu ka? Okay, so I think our first section that we said we were going to start off with today was part C of Roman numeral 4. Am I right? Have we finished that one?
No, we were just getting on to it.
We were just getting to it, right? Ashita no yoru nani o shimasu ka? That one, right? Okay, and then somebody's going to answer. So let's let Corey and Tatiana start it off with the question and answer for the example.
明日の夜、何をしますか？
図書館で勉強して家に帰ります。
Hi. So just using the te form to connect the two verbs. Remember, we started talking about that last time, so this is just one more activity to help practice it. So Tatiana-san, Tatiana-san, ichiban.
Also, I'm just asking what you're doing.
Right.
Okay, so 今日の夜、何をしますか？
うちで、勉強して寝ます。
はい、いいですね。じゃあ2番。
Okay. 明日の朝、何をしますか？
乗って
飲んで、
飲んで
はい。
で大学に行きます。
はい。And since we're at 大学 now, you could say 大学に来ます。
Okay.
ね。じゃあ3番。
昨日の夜何をしますか？
昨日の朝、wasn't it?
What? Oh, we're on 3.
3番。Yes.
Oh.
Okay. 昨日の朝。
昨日の朝何をしますか？
昨日 is when? Yesterday. So, 何を past tense?
しません。
That would be not do. What did you do?
しました。
はい、何をしましたか？ There you go. 昨日の朝何をしましたか？
朝ごはん食べてました。
Okay, 朝ごはんを食べて and then one more action.
朝ごはんを食べてしました。
That doesn't make sense. I ate breakfast and then did something, but you're not saying what. 食べて is the connection. The te form there is a connection to a second action. Okay. Oh, you weren't here when we were doing this. Okay, right? You missed this last class?
Well, I was here last week, but
But Tuesday, you missed Tuesday, so that's when we were doing this. So te form, this usage of te form is connecting two or more actions by using te form for the ones in the middle of the sentence and then the mas conjugations for the ending.
so do I say a food then?
So, no, it would be like two things that you did in sequence. So like, 朝ごはんを食べて学校に行きました. You know, ate breakfast and then went to school. Or 朝ごはんを食べてコーヒーを飲みました. You ate your breakfast first and then you drank your coffee. You know, things like that.
So 朝ごはんを食べて学校に行きました。
はい. Okay, that works. いいですね。
昨日の夜何をしましたか？
私と飲んで食べて
はい。
うちに帰ります。
帰り
帰り
ました。
ました。
帰りました。Because it was 昨日, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so レストランで食べてうちに帰りました。
帰りました
はい。じゃあ5番どうぞ。
今週の週末何をしますか？
日本語を勉強します。勉強して、寝ます。
はい。Okay, so 日本語を勉強して寝ます。Right. You said 日本語, right?
Yep.
Okay. All I heard was the Nihon part, but I think you're going to study the language rather than the country. はい。じゃあ次どうぞ。旦那さん。
先週の週末、
はい。
何をしますか？
When is 先週? Last weekend. So 先週の週末何を past tense. しましたか？はい。アルバイト？
Yes. アルバイトに行きます。No,
行って？
行って。
Yeah.
行っ
kind of almost sounds like you went to your work and you slept there. Like, I slept at my job. So,アルバイトに行って、家に帰って寝ました wouldn't clarify that. Otherwise, you're sleeping on the job.
That would be a story though.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Fell asleep in McDonald's, huh? Okay, いいですか? So now we're going to look at a new grammar structure. And since this one's a little challenging, I actually made a little Word doc with an explanation that I hope will help. And just waiting for the screen to warm up enough to show it to us. I did turn it on, didn't I?
It's going on.
Oh. So, basically, kara gets translated a couple of different ways depending. Oh, it would help if I had it. This turned on. There we go. Okay, so do you want me to pull the screen down, or can you look at it the way it is? Screen, yeah. Okay, and let's see, if I change this a little bit, I can. There. Now it's all within view, right? Okay, so the kara is sometimes translated as because, but I find that translation confusing because of the word order involved. So what I did is I came up with my own idea, which actually I have to give credit to a former student for that's why. Somebody else came up with that, and I just keep using it because it's the best one I've come up with for this word order. So rei just means example. Honban, Nihongo o benkyou shimasu. Ashita testo ga arimasu kara. Okay? So you've got your action, what you're going to do, or it could be past tense, what you did, right? For now, we've got a future tense one. Honban Nihongo o benkyou shimasu. Tonight, I will study Japanese, right? Ashita testo ga arimasu kara. The reason for that action? Because there's a test tomorrow, that's why. Okay? Hey.
So would it be wrong to put a kara after benkyou shimasu and then say the reason, or
If you put the kara here, you're reversing it. You're saying that, yeah, if you say Honban Nihongo o benkyou shimasu kara ashita testo ga arimasu, you're saying that the reason there's going to be a test tomorrow is because you've decided to study tonight. You know, like somehow your studying tonight is going to make there be a test tomorrow. Okay, so it completely reverses the cause and effect.
I see.
Okay? What you can do, and what's interesting is they teach it in this order in this chapter, but then later they introduce the other order, which is actually the more traditional order, which is that you can take this sentence, put it, put it here, and you can take this sentence and put it here, and you can actually get rid of this period entirely because it becomes a single sentence.
It makes more sense to English people.
Yeah, so this direction, what you've got is ashita testo ga arimasu kara honban nihongo o benkyou shimasu.
That's like saying therefore. There's a test tomorrow, therefore I'm studying tonight.
Yes. Yeah, so if you wanted to do it that way, that is actually the more traditional structure. So if you wanted to put it that way, there's a test tomorrow, therefore tonight I'll study Japanese. Okay? And if you wanted to, you could put the Nihongo part over here and say something like, Ashita Nihongo no testo ga arimasu kara, konban benkyou shimasu. Right? You could move the object if it makes more sense to you that way. But this is actually what I would consider to be the more traditional word order, sentence structure. And why they teach it the other way first, I couldn't tell you. I think they were under the misapprehension that this way would actually be easier for Westerners and English speakers to learn. This is a more sort of modern, colloquial, slangy way to say it. And I think it may be in part a result of Western influence that Japanese people have started swapping some of their sentences around and putting things in opposite order from usual. But, you know, I've had lots of students tell me, no, the traditional way is actually easier to understand. Why are we doing it like this? You know? So I'm perfectly okay with you doing your sentences in either order, but for the sake of this textbook practice, you need to at least understand the action first, reason for action second style, because that's what they're showing us right now. And then it's a later chapter when they introduce this other format. Okay? So, at any rate, so that gives you both, kind of. So, any questions about it now? Does it make more sense now? So I'm saving this and I'm going to post it to Canvas later, so you guys will have it as a reference point going forward. And we will, and just to be clear again, if you wanted to, for example, say that you studied Japanese yesterday or last week. Why? Because there was a test yesterday, that's why. You know, something like that. You could put the whole thing into the past tense, and as long as you've got your sequence of, you know, doing the action first because of the reason that followed it, you know, as long as you've got your sequence correct and you don't have, like, you know, the test happening before the studying, you know, then you're fine. You know, you could do, you know, 先週末、日本語を勉強しました。月曜日にテストがありましたから。You know? Or 昨日日本語を勉強しました。今日テストがありましたから。You know? Okay. So any questions about that part? Let's try some application and see if it works better now that you have this concept. Do you want me to leave this up for kind of a reference point for a while? Okay, so let's go ahead and try A, and we don't need to really read the example since I used a variation of that example for this. So let's see, I think it's Dylan's turn, am I right? So you're just going to read the sentence and then give a reason for it.
So, 先週は大変でした。So I want to say, お母さんは町に来ましたから。
Okay. So your mom came to town and that was rough?
Yeah.
Okay. We won't tell her you said that. Okay, yeah, that works. お母さんが
つけるから
町に来ましたから。Yeah, you just stick it on the end. Okay. じゃあ、Avery さん、2番。
あの映画を見ました。怖いお映画 is that right?
怖い映画。
Okay.
Yeah, you just did.
怖い映画が
I'm trying to say that you don't like
Yeah,
scary
it was-
movies.
yeah,
So,
好き
好きじゃない
好きじゃないです
から。
から
Okay? So you keep, the whole sentence structure is the same structure you already know, you just add kara on the end. Okay? So, 怖い映画が好きじゃないですから。Okay?
Okay.
So up until the kara part, you're just making a statement
That's hard.
that happens to explain the previous action or chosen inaction in this case, right? You know, and then you just tack kara onto the end. So, あの映画を見ません。怖い映画が好きじゃないですから。I'm not gonna watch that movie. Why? I don't like scary movies, that's why. You know? Does that make sense? じゃあ、アンドレアさん、何番目やってください。
よくレストランに行きます。今日食べ物が食べますから。
Well, yoku means often, right? So the first part is you often go to that particular restaurant. So you're giving an explanation for why you go there a lot. Is it because it's cheap, it's delicious, your friend likes it, you know?
So 食べ物が美味しいですから。
Hi, that works. Okay, so よくあのレストランに行きます。食べ物は美味しいですから。Yep, the food is delicious. Right.
はい。昨日クラスを休みました。
はい。
これせ勉強しまtrying to remember past 勉強
しました。
しました。いやいや勉強しました。I say 勉強しましたから。
Okay, so you're saying
I
you,
didn't go to class
because you were studying instead?
because I didn't study.
Oh, 勉強しませんでした
Ah,
is the negative
勉強
part.
します。Yeah, that's what that's.
Okay.
勉強しませんでした。
から
から。
Okay,
勉
so
強しませんでした。
昨日クラスを休みました。勉強しませんでしたから。Okay, so yesterday I skipped class. Why? Because I hadn't studied. That's why. Something like that. I didn't study for it, so I didn't go to the class. Okay.
メリーさんが面白いですから大好きです。
Okay, you did it the other way around. Cool. Okay. So Mary sounds really interesting. That's why you like her. Okay. So, and you can see how the "that's why" kind of fits either way, right?
To
You
me, that
can
kind of
s-
makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah. Mary-san wa omoshiroi desu kara daisuki desu. Mary is really interesting, therefore I like her, or that's why I like her. So it works in that position and it works on the end as well. So, yeah, it is strange that they would teach this word order first when the other one is more traditional and seemingly easier for most people to get the hang of, so. You know, I didn't help write the textbook,
Yeah.
I didn't get any input on this decision. じゃあ、タティアナさん。
友達に教科書を借りました。Was it saying that they borrowed my textbook?
友達に教科書を借りました。So I borrowed
Oh,
a
I
textbook
borrowed,
from a friend.
From
Or
person.
from a friend?
Yeah,
Okay.
友達に is like from my friend.
So I could just say, 勉強しましたから. Or do I have to like add more to the sentence?
Because I studied,
Oh.
that's a little confusing.
Well, I know, because I needed to study.
Yeah, we haven't learned the
Yeah,
structure
so
yet for how
I
to
was-
say I want to study, that's why. What about like because you forgot the book? Remember, that's one of our new vocabulary. So you borrowed your textbook from your friend maybe because you forgot yours at home?
Forgot is
Wasuremashita, yeah. Anyone know how to word that?
Which one?
I forgot the textbook at home.
私の教書を忘れましたから。
Yeah, so that would be, yeah, I just forgot my book. Watashi no kyokusho o wasuremashita. If you wanted to say at home, watashi no kyokusho o uchi de wasuremashita kara.
That's what it
Yeah, the uchi de part is what is confusing, huh? So, does that work? Does everybody understand how that could happen? Put that together. Tomodachi ni kyokusho o karimashita. Borrowed a textbook from my friend. Uchi de watashi no kyokusho o wasuremashita kara. I've forgotten my textbook at home. Okay, any questions about that segment? Okay, let's do a little bit more practice. So this one, it's more of a dialogue. Let's let Tatiana and Dylan do the dialogue example.
I have a
Oh,
question.
question
Is
first.
the te form of aru, is that regular or is it irregular?
Aru,
arimasu.
arimasu, so it's the
It's the same.
utsuru pattern,
Okay.
atte.
Atte.
Right.
That's what
Do you need to read the part that's above A or just start from A?
You can start from A.
That's okay. 私は昼ご飯を食べません。
どうしてですか？
あまりお金がありませんから。
Dylan would be the B.
Dylan さんは
はい。
私も昼ご飯を食べません。クラスがありますから。
Right. So you see how they both are doing the same action but for different reasons, right? They're both skipping lunch. One person because of lack of money and the other for lack of time. Right? Okay, so this is a
Yeah,
different way
so-
of practicing.
You gotta follow the script, but you also have to make up stuff as you go along.
Right, yeah. So, should we try? So ichiban, they're giving you honshu wa taihen desu, right? And so the next person's gonna ask, how come, right? Doshite desu ka? Okay, so let's do A and B here, Dylan and Avery.
今週は大変です。
どうしてですか？
いや、テストがあってたくさん勉強しましたから。エブリさんは
私も
So you would start by repeating back the first part. So 私も今週は大変です。
Okay, 私も大変です。
大変です。
大変です。
Yeah, so this week is tough for me too. 私も今週は大変です。And then a different reason.
火曜日にテストがありました。
から。
から。
はい。いいですね。Okay. So, does that make sense? Is it kind of starting to settle in a little bit to your brain? じゃあ、エイブリーさんとアンドレイさん、2番お願いします。
私はこの町の喫茶店が好きです。
どうしてですか？
そのコーヒーはとても美味しいです。
から。
から。
And then you ask アンドレイさんは
アンドレイさんは
わかりません。あなたの喫茶店、
Oh, 喫茶店. Okay, so you don't know what 喫茶店 he's talking about. Is that what you're trying to say? あの喫茶店がわかりません。
あの喫茶店もわかりません。
Yeah, there are better ways to say that, but we haven't learned them yet. So we'll just stick with that for now. Okay, but that doesn't really get you to practice the kata. So can you come up with something else that you can explain liking? Like maybe you can say you like something else and then a reason why.
コーヒーも好きです。
Okay, 私もコーヒーが好きです。
私もコーヒーが好きです。喫茶店が好きですから。
That's confusing. You're saying that you like the coffee because you like the coffee shop?
Oh, I meant the other way around.
Okay, yeah, that's a problem. That's why we have to practice this, right? So, 私もあの喫茶店が好きです。コーヒーが好きですか or コーヒーが美味しいですから Yeah, or if you like the second order better, you could say あの喫茶店のコーヒーが美味しいですから好きです right? Because that coffee shop's coffee is delicious, I like it. Okay? But the main thing to be careful of is which piece of it is what you like or what you're gonna do or what you did, and which piece of it is the reason why you like it or did it or will do it. Okay, so you gotta make sure that the kata attaches to the part of the sentence that is explaining why. Make sense? So if you think about it as, that's why, it comes after the part that's explaining the reason why. Make sense? So the coffee is delicious, that's why I like it, or I like it, the coffee's delicious, that's why. Either way, the kara is gonna come after the coffee being delicious part, not the liking it. Sorry, the coffee is delicious, therefore I like it, right? Or I like it, it's delicious, that's why, right? So it's the delicious part that needs the kara. Does that make sense? Yeah. Even talking about it can get confusing if you're not careful, so. 美味しいですから好きです。It's delicious, therefore I like it. Or 好きです。美味しいですから I like it. It's delicious, that's why. Make sense? Okay. じゃあ、レイさんとアレックスさん。
週末でプロを見ます。
どうしてですか？
好きです。面白い
ですから。
私も週末はプロを見ます。
はい。
見ます。I have to say
A reason why. So,
Why?
you know, it could be because you're interested in it, it could be because your friend is going, you know,
I don't know.
going with your friend, you know, lots of.
友達は行きましょう。一緒に
Okay. 友達と一緒に
行きますから。
はい、行きますから。Because you're going with your friend. はい、that works. Okay. Is that making sense? Okay. じゃあ、アレクさんとコーリーさん。Let's try the name of a celebrity.
Alright, ドナルド・トランプが
Same exact example the other class came up with. が嫌いです。Yeah, well, you can make a case for either one of those, right? Okay, so トランプが嫌いです。And then you ask him,
どうしてですか？ We don't know that many insulting adjectives, but yeah, what do you want to say? And I'll see if I can help you figure out how to say it.
I don't know, I'm trying to think to say,
You could just say like he's not nice, so like
Ah, 優しくないですか。
okay, yeah, 優しくない、優しくない
Yeah. 優しくないですから。
Yeah, 優しくないですから。
はい、いいですね。And then you ask, コーリーさんは
コーリーさんは
私もドナルド・トランプが嫌いです。
And some other thing to say about him, why you don't like him.
くないです。Wait, 難しいです。Where he's difficult.
That, I think I get what you're trying to do, but it doesn't really work that way in Japanese.
Okay.
Difficult really just means like the test was difficult,
Okay.
or this book is difficult to read. It doesn't really work for,
We're going like difficult to relate to.
yeah, a person being difficult. I don't think it gets
You
used
could
that
say
way in
he's not
Japanese.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
面白いくないです。
Okay, 面白くないですから。面白くないですから。
面白くないですから。
はい。That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, with our limited vocabulary at this point, it's
Hard to
hard to
read.
take talk about some of that stuff. かっこよくないですから。That would work too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. はい。はい。Yeah. Wearing a cat on his head. Stop. Yeah. So, okay, so moving on to the next question there.
お金が全然ありません。
どうしてですか？
観光は、ここは安いです。
What?
Computers are expensive.
Oh, computer
computer.
が
Computers
or パソコン. You were, oh,
Pasokon.
you were going for
Yeah.
パソコン, but
Yeah.
it's not an, it's a so.
Yeah.
Okay, so パソコンが
パソコンが
高いですから。
高いです。
Yatsui is cheap,
Oh.
so that was confusing. Yeah, so パソコンが高いですから. Right. Okay, and then you ask Tatiana.
タティアナさんは
私もお金全然ありません。
お金が
お金が全然ありません。たくさん食べ物が買いますか？
Okay, たくさん買い物を買いますから. Okay, you buy a lot of food. That works. Hey.
来年は英語を勉強しません。
どうしてですか？
A little was あまり
Oh, yeah, if you're doing it with a negative, yeah.
お金あまりあまりありません。
Okay, お金が
お金が
あまりありませんから. はい.
デランさんは
私も金があまりありません。CD を買いましたから。
Okay, well, we're on number 6, 来年日本語を勉
Yeah.
強しません.
That's right, I was thinking of something else.
Yeah.
So I also didn't study because,
No, I'm not going to study Japanese next year. 来年 is next year.
旅行しますから。
Okay, so you're
So
not
yeah, I
gonna,
will be traveling.
okay, so you won't be taking the class because you'll be traveling? Is
Yeah.
that- So, okay, 私も来年日本語を勉強しません。
Did I not say that
旅
part?
行
Okay.
しますから.
Yeah.
Okay.
私も来年は勉強します。旅行しますから。
はい。いいですね。じゃあ7番は
週 Okay.
So 来週、
あ
meaning
来週、 本屋に行きます。
どうしてですか？
新しい漫画を買いますから。エイブリさんは？
私も来週said
本屋。
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 Bookstore.
Store, okay. 本屋に行きます。
はい
来週、私も来週本屋に行きません。お金が全然ありません。
から。
から。
はい。Okay. So in that case, if you're doing ikimasen instead of ikimasu, you wouldn't use mo.
No?
Because mo is
Oh.
also, so it's
That
like
makes
you're
sense.
also doing the same thing.
Okay.
So if you're doing a contrast instead, then you'd go back to wa. Watashi wa laishu honya ni ikimasen. Okane ga arimasen kara. いいですか? Okay.
自転車を、私は自転車を買います。
どうしてですか？
自転車を楽しいです。
自転車は
自転車は
楽しいですから。
楽しいですから。アンドレアさんは？
先週自転車も買いました。優しいですか？
優しい easy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What do you mean? Do you mean like riding a bike is easy? That's why you bought it? That's what's confusing.
Oh,
Yeah, because you're supposed to be giving a reason why you bought the bike or will buy a bike.
okay. 安いですか？
Okay, because it was cheap, so you bought it because it was cheap. Okay. And if you're putting it in the past tense, senshu kaimashita, then it would be yasukatta desu kara, because it was cheap. Yasukatta desu kara. So that's the other thing to be aware of, is that the ending of the sentence can be in whichever tense. Even when it's got kara after it, you can still put it in the past tense if you're talking about a past tense action. Making sense yet? Okay, you guys feel okay with it, or do you want to do a little bit more practice with it? That's the last of the textbook exercises until we get to the matome, but if you guys feel like we need more practice, we can focus on that more.
We have a section from Oshoka too.
Yeah, we've got a Mashoka section, which is
Yeah.
pretty easy comparatively.
Yeah, heard of that.
Yeah, so if you'd rather focus more on kara, there's actually a role play in the matome section that lets you do reasons. Which would you guys rather work on, since we're preparing for the chapter test on Tuesday, right? So would you rather focus on this role play in case we run out of time and don't have time to do the mashoka? Does everybody feel okay with the mashoka stuff? Yeah.
Wait, the test is coming Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay. We doing the OPI sign up today?
Yeah, which reminds me, thank you. I didn't get it out to pass around yet. Let me get it out real quick. So, take a second and look at the, while I'm getting this out, go ahead and look at the matome no enshu scenarios and see if you can think about what you can say.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I need to work
What is
on.
it? One of the house.
Okay, yeah, let me go ahead and get started around and.
I'm pretty much free.
Is there anybody who needs a particular time?
Just
Right after this class? Okay. Anybody else need a particular time? And we're missing at least one person here, but we'll just, fit those people in however. Technically, the two Sierras are both in this class, but Sierra Kane often comes at the other time. So. So, after that finishes going around. Work on this.
I have to do mine at 1:30 because I have a class right after this
Okay,
until noon.
okay, so the 1:30 slot works better for you, that's fine.
So that's the soonest I'll be able to do it.
Okay, well, and if you're more comfortable going with somebody you know, I can ask the two Sierras if either one of them.
Well, because last time I did it with Sierra, the one that sits closer to you, because
She also
I think
needed.
was there going in the afternoon.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, so I've got a couple of openings of people who need a partner and don't have one signed up with them yet. So we'll just play it by ear. Somebody will probably take one of those time slots from the other group. I'll let them know that I want them to fill those slots as well as a few more, because there's I think 6 or 7 of them in that group too, and then we've still got the 2 that are absent today from here, who may or may not show up this afternoon. So we'll make it work somehow. And we've had some situations where there was no partner available, so we just did one-on-one, and that works also. So either way. Okay, so let's try some of these role plays. So who are we up to read the example? Okay, so you want to read the example out for us, because it's a dialogue.
Alright, so you are short of money and want to borrow some money from your friend. すみませんが、お金を借りてもいいですか？
お金ですか？
どうして
どうして
明日は友達の誕生日で、誕生日ですから。
でも私もお金がありません。先週旅行に行きましたか？
行きましたから。Okay, so do you understand what you guys are doing here? So one person's asking for a favor, the other person's like, why? And the other person's like telling a reason, and then the other person, the second person has a reason why they can't do that favor, right? So they give you the scenarios, you kind of come up with your own version of a dialogue. So let's have Corey and Tatiana try one. Corey, you can be 1A, and Tatiana, you're 1B. to need the temo ii desu ka and te wa ikemasen structures.
Yeah. Um, ashita ni,
Or just ashita.
ashita.
It doesn't take a ni.
Okay, forgot about that.
Yeah.
Ashita, deto,
Oh wait, no, ask me to borrow my car first, because that's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
be your reason.
kurumasu. I forgot borrow.
It's right here in your example.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you use the example as your template,
Okay. Sumimasen ga,
kuruma.
kuruma, o karimate mo ii desu ka?
Kuruma desu ka? Doshite?
Ashita wa, wait, dato,
deto.
deto desu ka?
Deto ga arimasu kara.
deto ga arimasu ka?
Right.
でも、私の車、新しい
Okay, 私の車は新しいですから借りてはいけません。
借りて
借りては
借りてはい
けません。
けません。
Yeah, you're not allowed to borrow it because it's brand new. Okay, so I think part of what I'm sensing from you guys is that you're having a hard time finding a way to fit into the template they're giving you.
Yep.
What might help is if you take your pencil or whatever and underline the parts that you're going to change out, or underline the parts that are going to stay the same, one or the other, but not both, right? But so, for example, okane, you're going to change out for kuruma, right? And then instead of ashita wa tomodachi no tanjoubi desu kara, it would keep the ashita wa, keep the desu kara, but you would say, or actually just keep the kara, and then you would say ashita wa deito ga arimasu kara, right? So the tomodachi no tanjoubi desu part is what gets changed to the other part, right? And then the excuse on the end, demo, karite wa ikemasen, kuruma wa atarashii desu kara, something like that, right? Or atarashii desu kara, karite wa ikemasen. Right? So if you kind of use their template and underline the parts that get substituted, that might help you kind of see the pattern that you can work with there. That's going to work for that one and for some of these other ones also, where they give you a dialogue to work with. Right? So let's try 2. So Tatiana-san 2A, Dylan-san 2B. So you're going to be wanting to borrow this book, right?
Instead of saying I lost it, can you just say I don't have one? 'Cause I don't, do we learn the one for lost?
Wasuremashita is I
Oh.
forgot it,
Wasuremashita.
which can mean you lost it in the sense of like you forgot it somewhere. You left it someplace.
Okay.
So that's what they mean by that.
Wasuremashita.
Yeah, sometimes their English is not very precise, and so you kind of have to tweak it to fit the vocabulary you have.
すみませんが、日本語の教 教科書
はい。
を借りてもいいですか？
日本語の教科書ですか？どうして？
忘れました。
はい。忘れましたから。
忘れましたから。
And then you could say,忘れましたから, and then you could also say something like, 明日テストがありますから.
明日テストがありますから。
はい。
借りてはいけません。私もテストがありますから。
はい。That works. Okay. So 私もテストがありますから. Yep. Okay. Makes sense? Okay. Let's see if Dylan and Avery can do 3.
すみませんが、ケーキを食べてもいいですか？
direct. ケーキですか？どうして？
ケーキが大好きですから。
So you're not wanting to give him permission, right?
Yeah.
So, te wa ikemasen is the not giving permission form, right? Yeah, so te form wa ikemasen. Tabete wa
食べては
ikemasen.
いけません。
Right. You're not allowed to eat it.
Okay.
Okay, and then the reason would be
What was birthday?
誕生日.
Would be
Yeah,
お
お
母さん
母さん
の
の誕生日ですから.
から。
はい.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense? お母さんの誕生日ですから. Okay, so if something like this shows up on your OPI, are you going to be able to handle it? Hint, hint. Okay, should we run through a few more times? Let other people who didn't get to do one try it? Okay, so let's see, I don't know what time we have.
3時中。
Okay, we've still got a few minutes, so let's let Avery and Andrea try number 1 again. It doesn't have to be identical, but it can be, same, along the same lines.
すみません。が
車.
車を借りてもいいですか？
車ですか？どうして？
明日はデートが
あります。
ありますか
から。
ら。
はい。
でも車を買います。
What? 車
を買います。
you just bought it. You're not buying it now.
Oh,
Yeah, you already bought it, so it's atarashi, right? It's new.
車は新しいです。
から
から
借りてはいけません。
借りてはいけません。
Okay, so 新しいですから借りてはいけません。It's new, therefore you can't borrow it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Or you could do it the other way around. 借りてはいけません。新しいですから。Right? It's your brand new car, you don't want to let anybody borrow it. Make sense? Okay. So, how about if you guys try two then? Andrea and Alex.
教科書、あなたの教科書が
教科書を
借りてもいいですか？
教科書ですが、どうして
私の教科書が忘れてです。
忘れて明日テストがありますから。You can use the te form. You've got two reasons. 教科書を忘れて明日テストがありますから。I forgot my book and I've got a test to study for. Right? Okay, so 忘れて、教科書を忘れてテストがありますから。Those are your two reasons. Right? And so he says,
でも、私は日本語の教科書ありません。
oh, you don't have a book,
Oh,
but
no, I was saying that, wait,
you,
what was I trying to say?
you, I think the idea is to tell her she can't borrow it because you also have a test,
Oh,
right? So, 私も
いや、私も日本語のテストが
あります
ありますから。
から、いや、借りてはいけません。You can't borrow it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
借りて
は
はあります。
いけません。
いけません。
はい、借りてはいけません。You remember that phrase? てはいけません is the can't do, you're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that now?
Mhm.
So, 私もテストがありますから借りてはいけません。You can't borrow it because I've got a test too. I need it, right?
Yeah.
So, is it making some sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, I think we can manage one more. So, let Alex and Corey do number 3.
Right. すみませんが、おいしい、
What are you requesting? What are you asking for? おいしいケーキを
just so the cake looks delicious.
No,
Or
you're,
am I
you're
asking-
asking if you can eat it.
Oh.
You love
Right?
cakes.
すいませんが、ケーキを食べます。
食べても
食べてもいいですか？
That's the one. はい。
ケーキですか？どうして？
ケーキが大好きです。
から。
ですから、
はい。
でも私もケーキが
Remember, the reason they're giving you is that it's your
Yeah.
mom's birthday. So, so you're telling him he doesn't have permission. He's not allowed to eat it, and the reason is because it's your mom's birthday.
Okay. So,
Which which order do you wanna use, the top one or the bottom one?
Double.
Okay, so the top one, you would say no permission first,
Okay.
not allowed.
So,
食べては
食べては、
いけません。
いけません。
And then the reason is,
お母さんはどうし、
お母さんの
お母さんの
誕生日で
です
から。Okay, is it making sense?
Yeah, I was just lost on how to
Yeah.
say mother's birthday.
Okay,
and so
お母さんの
short.
誕生日ですから。Okay, so now that you've all had a chance to kind of get the feel for how those work, you probably ought to go like practice in the language lab together or something and rehearse doing all those, because I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that shows up in the OPI. Okay, and then do the same thing with the questions, where you're answering those kinds of questions with te, or te mas, or te mashita, so, things like 今晩何をしますか? 日本語を勉強して寝ます or whatever the sequence might be. So make sure you're practicing all that stuff, because it's all part of the OPI. It's probably going to be like one role play and then a few of those other questions.
This stuff, actually, I have to do a class right after this, so I won't be able to do the 11 o'clock slot.
Oh, that's fine. Did you want to change it?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to change your,
Yeah.
What time do you want to go to?
It's 11:45, though, I have to get out early.
Because I
Is that
have,
gonna be too late for you?
yeah, because I have class with the Melbourne campus at 12:15 and the Palm Bay campus at 12:15.
Okay, so should I switch with Alex then?
Yeah.
Because I have the.
we can find you a different partner,
Okay,
if that's
yeah.
okay.
Wait,
Mine
sorry.
was a 10-minute slot.
Yeah, me
I
too.
have to do mine at after
Yeah.
after
So
12.
can I do 1:30 then?
Yeah, you want to do 1:30
Yeah.
with 10 and cross your name off the other spot so that, okay.
I'll just say that.
I just really forgot about it, like I've had this class for like, all semester, it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
I do have a class.
Yeah, okay, so Tatiana and Avery need other partners, but
Yeah.
that's okay, we'll work it
What
out.
time is Avery going?
He's going
At
at
11:15.
11:15.
I don't know if he's still in the hallway, so.
You wanna go ask him if he's okay with the 11 o'clock slot, and then he can just partner with you, and then we can fill in other spots for other people.